So you're in here because you are traveling around the world to every single country without getting on a plane, which sounds amazing. So maybe we could start at the beginning. Like, where did this whole idea come from?
It came when my father sent me an email. I come from a background within shipping and logistics, and I've been traveling around the world for various projects. One time he sent me a link about people traveling to every country in the world. And I thought that was an interesting subject and found out there was just about 200 people who had reached every country in the world, so a rather small number. And by doing a little bit of research, I realized no one had done it completely without flying. Yeah, on the 10th of October 2013, I crossed the border from Denmark to Germany, and I was on my way.
So is it just you as well that is going on this, or have different people kind of come and joined you for different parts of it?
I'm married, so my wife has been out to meet me 24 times.
Okay.
And she's crossed a few borders. Yeah, so it sounds like a lot, but you have to think about it's been going on for 8 years and 8 months.
Yes.
So if you do the math on that, then 24 times, it's perhaps somewhere around five months in between.
So how do you fund your travels?
It's a bit of a patchwork. So I have financial backing from a couple of companies in Denmark that are invested in geothermal energy. And they cover about 80% of the costs. And then I have my online community, the followers on Facebook and Instagram and so on. And sometimes they throw some money in my direction. So that helps. I do a few speaking engagements. I write a few articles. So that also helps a little bit with income. And then I had my private savings, which I've also been tearing into. So it's a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like there has to be something more in it for you than just, I want to go to a whole bunch of places.
Yeah.
Like, what's been the thing that's kept you doing this for, 8 years now?
Yeah. Well, I think there should be no mistake that this is an achievement project. It's not a holiday. It's not lying on beaches and playing guitar and this kind of stuff. Although it could be sometimes, but generally it's maybe more akin to trying to get to the top of Mount Everest. So that pushes me sometimes, that I have a chance to carve out a little bit of history for myself. Some people would debate it's less relevant, and some would say it's very relevant. But to be the first to do something. I'm also a goodwill ambassador of the Danish Red Cross. So I've been teaming up with the Red Cross globally. I've met with the Red Cross in 191 countries so far.
Oh, cool.
And trying to raise awareness for humanitarian work. I've been raising funds, and also, again, my followers have helped support raising funds for humanitarian work around the world, and also symbolically connecting the Red Cross in one global journey. And then the perhaps most important part of the project for me is to shine some positive light on good, well-meaning people around the world, which I think there are most of. Everywhere I have gone, it has just been people being people getting up, having their breakfast and getting stuck in traffic and complaining about it, and taking selfies and falling in love and getting married, and barbecues and music and dancing and grinding through their lives and whatnot, but people being people. It hasn't been terrorists, it hasn't been the crazy diseases and people with 6 arms and 4 eyes and stuff like this.
People are just people.
Yeah.
So you arrive in a country. What do you do when you get there?
So these days, when I'm going between island nations, I arrive and my first thought is, how am I going to get out of here? Like, how am I going to be stuck here forever?
Yeah.
Or do I have a solution? And now I'm in New Zealand, and I'm working really hard on, first of all, the relationships I already have with shipping companies to see if they're willing to take me to any of the remaining countries. Then the next thing is take photos of where I am and start sharing it with my audience and sort of show, now in this case, New Zealand through my eyes.
Let me ask you this then, because you've been in so many different places and so many different cultures as well. What have you found has been the best way to connect with people, no matter where you've gone, to build that rapport, to build that bond?
Generally, trying to be a good person is very helpful. So smiling and being positive. And in some cultures, it's not appropriate to look people in the eyes.
I was going to say, in some cultures, even smiling is a little bit of a...
That too. So you have to be aware of where you are. But generally, and I think this is what you're asking, like generally smiling, looking people in their eyes, trying to remember their names, trying to let them speak, listen to what they have to say and remember what they said. Not come in with a lot of arrogance and pushing people aside and here I am and I don't care about you, because who's going to make a friend like that? The motto of this project is, a stranger is a friend you've never met before. So this is something that they ask me, and I think people are generally open. People are curious. People have voices. They want to be heard. It's not that hard to make connections between people, but you have to come at it the right way.
What is the scariest situation that you've encountered along the way? There must have been some interesting things that have happened.
Yeah, so this could go on for a very long time. but it's scary and danger. It comes in different forms. Really quickly, I can say that once I was on board a container ship in a harsh storm, and it wasn't far from where Titanic went down.
Oh, gosh.
And I thought we were going down. I thought there was no way we could handle the elements.
Wow.
But in another situation, I was in a jungle on a dirt road, and there were 3 armed guards that were drunk out of their mind and armed to their teeth and hostile, and the situation was well out of control, and it was in a part of the world where they don't care about lives go to waste and people disappear. So I was very scared. Yeah.
Well, we're very glad to have at least had you in the studio with us today as well. And again, only a few countries to go. So yeah, we're definitely praying those doors open up for you as well. That would be very cool. If people want to follow along though with this journey, I know you're calling it the Once Upon a Saga. Yeah. How do they follow along with you and get these updates as you go?
Yeah, if you search Once Upon a Saga on the internet, and Saga is S-A-G-A, then everything will probably pop up. There's a blog, there's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'm not great at social media. I do what I can, but you're welcome to come and follow.
Oh,
Wonderful.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's great to hear your story.
So Thor Pedersen, thank you so much for joining us. And again, all the best on your travels. And I must admit, I do love that thought of that point of connection that you're making with people as well. I feel like that's something we could probably all do in our everyday life already, right?
Yeah, I think we need it a bit more, especially now. Yeah.